Historic football program, rabid fan base, unique environment, culture, tradition, pageantry, and a bigger fan base than you may understand right now. Welcome into West Virginia Mountaineers Live, our initial show right here on our new channel, West Virginia, the voice of college football. And the guy that's going to make it all happen right here is the Golden Blue dude. Hey, man, how's it going tonight?
It's going great, man. Like we've talked about earlier, this couldn't have come at a better time. Internet finally came today, so high quality video, no portrait mode. I'm ready to go, man. I'm excited.
You're looking clear and crisp.
That's what I'm talking about.
Looking good. All right, everyone, line up there and leave your comments or questions right there in the live chat for us. We're going to be here for about an hour talking West Virginia football. Plan to do it each and every Friday night at 7 o'clock Eastern time. So mark it down, lock it in, get on over to our new West Virginia channel and subscribe right there. Head on over there. You can just search Voice of College Football West Virginia. You should be able to find it. We'll leave the link in the live chat as well. You know what? A lot of people are going to be watching us tonight that aren't fans of West Virginia football, but want to see us grow, whether that's a Golden Blue dude, myself, and our platform. And if you love college football, still subscribe. We ask that you still subscribe, but certainly if you are a Mountaineer fan, it is a must. It is a must. Absolutely. So I'm looking back at my preseason prediction for West Virginia football, and I said 8-4. I went 8-4. I went 6-3 in the conference. They came up a couple games shy. And before we get to this recent recruiting class that just came in pretty strong here in the last couple of days, let's look back at the season and, what went right, what went wrong.
Well, what went right was despite losing a ton of talent on defense, we didn't take a massive step backwards. A slight step, but last year was an elite defense. So we had a pretty good defense this year. Now, what went wrong? Our offensive line. That's what went wrong. Our running game, almost non-existent. Letty Brown went over 100 yards 4 times. And we won all 4 of those games, but only 4 times. Last year, he went over all but 1 game, I believe. So it was our offensive line, and then that translated over to our quarterback, Jarrett Deggy. He gets a lot of flack for what happened this year, but it was not his fault. Just go back and look at last year. Had a great season. When you give Jarrett Deggy time, he's actually a pretty good quarterback. The problem was he didn't have enough time and no run support. And the drop ball bug was going around again. Our wide receivers dropping too many balls. So offensive line, young but talented. Hopefully another offseason together and more depth with that's going to help. And running game. And even though Letty Brown is gone, we're going to talk about what running backs are coming in, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, so besides Letty Brown making his decision to opt for the NFL draft, is there anybody else out there that we're going to find out about here in the next 2 to 3 weeks that's on the fence?
That I haven't heard anything. The only one that I've heard about is Letty Brown. Now, I did hear that Winston Wright has actually decided to come back next year. So that's a plus. But as far as somebody being on the fence or possibly sitting out the ball, haven't heard anybody else's name besides Letty Brown. So, but I'll keep up on that for sure. And it will hurt to an extent not having Letty Brown. But I'll tell you what, Tony Mathis was looking good those last 3 games. He's looking like a pretty good running back. And like I mentioned before, our running game wasn't all that great the entire season anyway, so we're kind of used to that. But, it would have helped to have a rusher capable of going over 100 yards. I think Mathis is capable, but we did trust Letty Brown more, so that will hurt just a bit.
National Signing Day on a Wednesday, December 15th. So just about the entire class for most of the teams across college football. It's a little bit different story for some of the teams that brought in new head coaches out at Oregon. Only 7 signees at this point. They're going to have a class of 20. So they got a lot of work to do. Maybe they did some today. I just checked that last night, did some Oregon work last night and posted a segment, but they're a team in particular, as you might imagine. But for West Virginia, that's, I believe, 18 commits. It's the 32nd ranked class in the country, number 5 in the Big 12. You feeling pretty good about it?
Yeah, and actually, if you count the transfers that we got, that's a total of 20 commits, and we're actually in the top 30. So you'll see it. You'll see different rankings whether they count the transfers or not. I like to count the transfers because they're going to contribute. So to me, it makes sense to count the transfers, even though they're not from a high school. It's still recruiting. You're still getting them. So we have 20 commits. We had a few surprises last second, names that, to be quite honest with you, it's hard to pronounce. But from what I'm hearing, some good last minute pickups. So I'm pretty excited. We kind of rebounded from the 2 big losses, and those were running back Justin Williams. He was a 4-star recruit, one of our higher ranked recruits. He went back on the fence and ultimately signed with Tennessee. And then, of course, we also lost wide receiver Kevin Thomas. He was a 3-star. And as of right now, he's still unsigned. So West Virginia could still grab him. We'll see what happens with him. But, yeah, those were our 2 biggest losses. So picking up those last-minute transfers and recruits was a big deal because I think we dropped down to like 36 or 37 at one point.
Good to see the real MVPs here. Good luck against Minnesota. Joey, good to see you, man. As well, Joey? Of course. And Dylan, let's go Mountaineers.
Dylan, John, big Golden Blue Dude supporter. Appreciate you, bud.
Nice. We got John here as well. It's West Virginia's school that burns couches.
Yes, but it's actually illegal in Morgantown. And you know what? I'm going to make a promise here, and I'll do it on my regular channel too, Golden Blue Dude. If West Virginia beats Minnesota, I'll do a couch burning video. How about that?
Couch burning video.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
Yeah. That's a West Virginia tradition. So if we pull off the victory, it might not be like a big couch, but I'll figure out something. I will do it. It will happen.
It's going to be some kind of couch. It's not necessarily going to come out of some like play set, is it?
Right. No.
Okay.
But it could be maybe what's the right word? A love seat, something like that. So it'll definitely look like a couch. It'll have the size and stuff. It just might not be one of the bigger ones. It's going to be a good video. So we have to beat Minnesota.
Minnesota, West Virginia, interesting matchup. I will be tuned in and watching. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Even before we launched this channel, college football nerd right here, junkie. So I would be all into that. And Joey, appreciate it. I know you're excited. Thank you so much for bringing us together and your part in all of this. So we are all excited about getting this together for West Virginia fans and college football fans all together. So get on over there. We're going to drop the link in the live chat and get on over there and subscribe to our new West Virginia channel. Major Wolf. Good evening, Mark and Golden Blue Dude. Where's the next move of conference realignment? Wow.
That's kind of died down a little bit. My sources are still telling me the ACC thing with West Virginia, but there's nothing hot right now. And Shane Lyons, our administrator, actually I think he was fielding a question or whatever about that. And of course he shot it down saying there's not even an offer from the ACC, which I know for a fact we do, but I don't know if we turned it down. So maybe he's trying to spin it like that, but he said everything that he's supposed to say. West Virginia to the ACC, definitely not a done deal. And West Virginia could turn it down. I hope not, but we'll see. But as far as what happens next, that's the biggest name out there that's not already in a Power 5 is Memphis. somebody is going to grab Memphis. They have too big of a brand. They have too big of a backer in FedEx, and they do bring eyeballs, and they're pretty good in both football and basketball. They've gotten much better in football recently, and of course, they've always been a basketball school. So I definitely see Memphis getting grabbed up by a Power Five in the next year or so.
As we get into the off season, we're going to have plenty of time to talk about 2022 and some big picture stuff involving West Virginia football and the new Big 12 or a possible move to the ACC and all the things that could come very soon, or it could be long range plans for college football. But since we are launching a West Virginia channel, and I want to set the stage for a lot of people that aren't as familiar with the Mountaineers, you know, I said something off the top about a rabid fan base. A fan base that's larger than most people would probably think. So can you give us some description, some kind of idea of the unique qualities of West Virginia football, the fan base, and so forth?
Well, the first thing is there is no professional team in West Virginia. West Virginia University is the professional team of the state. And the reason a lot of people think that it's not a big fan base is they go by the state population, which I think the last time I looked was like 1.8, 1.7 million. That's not a lot at all. There's some cities that are much bigger than that. But there's a big alumni. There's a big fan base. It's not just the state. I mean, I can go down the road. I live in the upstate of South Carolina, and if I'm wearing my West Virginia gear, at least a dozen people, hey, where are you from? Where, you know, are you an actual West Virginia fan, or you're just one of those people where it's something to wear? No, I'm a West Virginia fan. So there's a lot of us out of there. And West Virginia, we're one of the most diehard fan bases there is. But the problem with that, what comes with that is whenever there's not success, man, they are mad and they're ready for, you know, even if like this year, we had a down year, 6-6, didn't meet expectations. 8-4 was what I was hoping for, what I predicted. And of course, you know, fire Neil Brown, Jarrett Deggy is a piece of crap quarterback, all that stuff. I mean, it's severe. But then the next game, Jarrett Deggy has a great game, Iowa State. I vividly remember that. And the next day, praising him, loving him, hero of the state. So if you have, I promise you, and I hope recruits start watching these videos, because I will say this to them. If you have success at West Virginia, you will have a statue made of you. You will be a hero in West Virginia folklore, no matter whether, if you don't go to the NFL, if you don't have success there, doesn't matter. You will be a legend at West Virginia, and you know, great things. It's almost like a god type of thing. Not quite to that extent, but man, you'll be a legend.
I will say that based on my interactions with college football fans every day, I'm guessing that if we took a poll, if we could send out a questionnaire to your average college football fan, or way beyond your average college football fan, because we got college football junkies in here, but not West Virginia fans, and we asked them certain questions about, you know, who would be the top 15 winningest programs in the history of college football, for example.
Yep.
You know, name the 15 schools that are top 15 in all-time wins. I bet most people would not include West Virginia. Number 15 right now, all-time in wins.
Yep. Last time I checked, we were also top 20 in basketball as well. So West Virginia is actually a pretty successful athletic program, both basketball and football. But especially on the football side, you know, when you think college football, you don't necessarily think that West Virginia is one of the, you know, all-time greats, because we've never won a national championship. And since I've been alive, I'm actually fortunate to have been a West Virginia fan in my particular lifespan, because we've had the most success ever since I've been born. Seriously, I did the research. Before it was horrible. Right after I was born, major boom in the 80s, the 88 national championship, 93 went undefeated. And then of course, 2007, and it's kind of died off a little recently, But man, I've enjoyed some of the greatest West Virginia teams of all times. Now, the problem with for West Virginia as far as not winning a national championship is the law of averages. We haven't been there enough. We've only had 3 opportunities. So when you've only had 3 opportunities, you better make one of those count. It's not like Alabama where, they're getting to the playoffs every stinking year. So they're going to win the national championship one of those years or 2 of those years or back to back, whatever. For West Virginia, we've only had 3 opportunities. 88, undefeated Notre Dame. Major Harris goes down with an injury and we lose. 93, we go undefeated, get invited to the Sugar Bowl, and had we won that game, share the national championship, we get blown out 41-7. And then, of course, in 2007, one game away. I'm not going to say the name. Everybody knows what it is. Everybody knows the score. And we lost that game, and we went to the Fiesta Bowl and absolutely thumped Oklahoma. I am convinced, had we won that last game, we'd have a national championship.
I even know the score of that game.
Yep. That's a legendary score now. Unfortunately for us, on the wrong end.
I would push back on a few things here. So first would be, college football is not the NFL, so it's not objective. There's not an objective playoff system. So people do select who gets the opportunities. So the SEC, for example, has won more national championships in the last 15 or 20 years, but has also been given many more opportunities to win national championships. When you have 2 teams selected for the playoffs, it's easier to win than when you get 0. When you're the Pac-12 and have 0, then it's kind of hard to win a national championship. So, but those teams created their opportunities to a certain extent. So it's a little bit of both. They put themselves in position with dominant play, but also there were close calls to be made by the committee, and the committee opted for the Alabamas of the world to get into the playoff. And in the past era, before the playoff, opted for certain schools to make the BCS championship game over others when there was the formula that also played into the AP poll and the coaches poll. So, not given the opportunity, also not setting themselves up for the opportunity. We could go year to year on that one and try to figure it out. I know you had a really good team in 2005 that dumped Georgia in the Sugar Bowl as well in a big upset there that surprised a lot of people. And
we started too far behind in that year. We lost to a Virginia Tech, and that kind of set us back in the polls. So we kind of put ourselves behind the 8 ball. By the time we get to the Sugar Bowl, we're number 11. So even though we only had 1 loss, we're not even in the top 10. So I would consider 2005 an all-time great team. But we just started too far behind the 8 ball to have a chance at, trying to get to a national championship.
And I probably would size up that 2007 Ohio State team against West Virginia as well. We could do that some night.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Joey burnt an entire living room set in 2012 when we beat the snot out of Clemson. Of course, that was 70 points. Geno Smith and company.
Wow, I've never done that. That's very interesting. You know what? I was actually I was living here in the upstate when that happened, and a lot of my friends are Clemson fans because I'm about 20 minutes outside of Clemson. So that was a very interesting experience, the jubilee of thumping Clemson, but the depression that surrounds you. It was I was kind of just walking around trying to be not bragging or in your face, but just wearing my colors, letting them know, hey, we owned you just now.
Clemson fans have a lot to be grateful for and can thank you for changing their whole football program because of that game.
That's what I've told Clemson fans. They're like, yeah, I remember that thumping that y'all gave us in the Orange Bowl. I was like, who cares? That was 2011. Well, technically in 2012, but I mean, I would trade that. I would take that thumping for 2 national championships. I mean, that nobody even care. I mean, it's something. It's nice to talk about, but it's not really anything to brag about. I mean, national championships, that's something to brag about.
If somebody out there is listening and not necessarily aware, West Virginia and Clemson met in the 2011/2012 Orange Bowl, and it was Dabo Sweeney's first ACC championship, and West Virginia hung 70 on them, and it could have been 85 or 90. Like, it was that bad. It was they put it on cruise control for the last like quarter and a half, and it was 70.
Yeah.
And it was a
Over by halftime.
demolition air raid, and that caused Clemson to go out and get Brent Venables to run their defense. So that
I saw that comment there. Jeff Grimm says Clemson only wins because they have a Bama boy as their coach. You do realize that Alabama has a West Virginia boy as their head coach, right? Nick Saban from West Virginia. So, I'm just saying.
Does anyone know where Nick Saban graduated from college?
Was it Glenville? Oh, Kent State.
Kent State University.
Nice. He coached there, didn't he? Like as an assistant or something?
Coach. He was an
assistant coach. Yeah. I knew that.
Nick Saban, Lou Holtz graduated from there. Jack Lambert, others, Antonio Gates, et cetera, et cetera. And the voice of college football graduated from there as well.
Nice. I didn't know that either. That's pretty cool. Where's that located geographically? Kent State. Where's that located?
Kent is about 45 minutes south of Cleveland.
Okay. So you're kind of in the center of Ohio, sort of like northeast.
Columbus is in the center.
Okay, so you're northeast.
Kent is northeast, about 2 hours or a little bit more than that, north of Columbus. Yes.
Right.
About 50
and who are they playing?
Minutes.
They're playing somebody in the bowl. Who are they playing?
They're playing Wyoming, and don't quiz me on what bowl game that is, but it's coming up, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah, I actually
couple days.
I remember that because I actually picked Kent State to win that. Hold on, I'm checking something real quick. I think I have that written down. Give me 1 second here. Maybe not. I'm not looking. I don't have it written down. I do, but I'm not looking for it. Yeah, but I think Wyoming is a 3-point favorite, but I have Kent State with the upset.
Okay, since this is our inaugural West Virginia Mountaineers live show, and we are launching our new channel with Gold and Blue Dude, so please check it out. I've left the link in the live chat, and if you can't find it, it's pretty easy in the search engine, I'm sure, on YouTube, Voice of College Football West Virginia. I'm sure you can go right to it and find it right there. Since we're getting ourselves familiar with a lot of people out there with the history of West Virginia football, I'm going to throw out a category, and no cheating out there, because we did throw out the 769 all-time wins, which is number 15 in college football among the 130 FBS teams. So I'm going to throw out some other categories, and folks, leave in the live chat your answer on these questions. So first, we're going to start with let's start with conference championships.
Oh,
so as Golden Blue Dude told us, no national championships and the near misses in 88, 93, 07, etc. But conference championships. So understand, Big 12 for about the past 10 years, Big East before that. That's about as far back as I would go, because when I was around,
they were independent before that.
College football, independent. Yeah.
Yep.
When you were talking about West Virginia not necessarily being as good before you started watching, that's, you're going back to my time, like late 70s, early 80s. Don Nealon, he's legendary in West Virginia football. Jeff Hostetler at quarterback those years.
Yep.
I got familiar with West Virginia when they were riding high, doing well.
Yeah.
And so they were.
By the way, 6 is way off. 6 is way off. Not even close.
6 is pretty far off. I'm looking at the number right here. And if I spit out any of these stats, Chris, and you know a little bit better, then chime in, because we know how college football stats are with certain things. Certainly national championships, everybody's got their interpretation of what is what, but we're counting up conference championships for a program that's been in the Big 12 for 10 years, independent, Big East going back to about sometime in the
60s or 50s, went to me, or before that.
That they were an independent.
Yeah, because weren't they in the Southern there for a while?
Sure. So they were like in the Southern Conference, independent for a long time. I don't know, going back to when, and then they went to the Big East. I'm guessing when the Big East was formed, or was a little later than that.
In the 80s. Honestly, people don't realize West Virginia was only in the Big East for 20 some years. That's not very long. And
I don't
the
even
Big
know if it was
12,
that long. They
yeah, it
were
might not even be that long. And we've already been in the Big 12 for 10 years. But the thing is, we played a lot of our rivals before we were in the Big East, like Pitt and Virginia Tech. We've played them forever. So it was this last conference realignment that really hurt that, because before that, it didn't matter what conference you were in. You were going to play your rivals no matter what. So, yeah, I really enjoyed West Virginia being in the Big East. We had a lot of success. And do not, a lot of people point out, the reason West Virginia hasn't had a lot of success in the Big 12 is because it's tougher, more competition. Go back to the older Big East. I'm telling you, it was pretty loaded. Syracuse was good back then. Of course, Miami, the Hurricanes, they were legendary back then. I mean, you could compare them to Alabama this day. That's how good they were. Boston College, Doug Flutie, and even Matt Ryan at one point, pretty good. And then, of course, Virginia Tech had some really good years. There was 99 under with Michael Vick and national champion runner-up, lost to Florida State. So don't knock the Big East. It was a pretty good conference. Now, there towards the very, very, very end, whenever Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Boston College, Miami, all those left, then it kind of got watered down. It was still decent because we brought in like Louisville. Cincinnati was in the Big East for a little bit. People forget. So it was decent, but it wasn't what it was. So, no, It's not that. It's West Virginia doesn't fit in the Big 12. We just don't. It's a Midwest conference. Now, I'm glad. I do like that we brought in UCF and Cincinnati, but that's two teams that fit in with us. So it's not. I'm not saying the travel necessarily. I'm saying the fit. It doesn't fit. People don't want to play for a team if they don't get to play in front of their friends and family. You commit to West Virginia and you're from Virginia, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Georgia, and most of your away games, well, pretty much all your away games are in the Midwest. I don't know about that. What about my family? What about my friends? So it makes recruiting more difficult. Of course, it makes the games more difficult because travel does start to wear on you towards the end of the season. And we're still considered kind of the stepchild. We're part of the family, but us first and come on in. I mean, we're part of the family, but still kind of looked as outsiders.
Yeah.
So I would go beyond stepchild. Stepchild is part of the family. Outsiders is what I would say. Outsiders, that's part of the group.
You also know that you're not necessarily ingrained in the conference and a good fit so take any of the other teams from the Midwest in the Big 12. And if you look at top recruits or any recruits really in the footprint, if they don't go to, let's say there's a candidate to go to Oklahoma. Well, If he doesn't go to Oklahoma, he's got Texas and Texas A&M, which used to be in the Big 12. So I understand they're not anymore, but still it's a regional thing because they're going to most likely, unless they're national recruits, like 5 stars that are looking at Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, and they're one of those guys, they're basically looking at a region. So if they don't go to Oklahoma, they're going to go to Oklahoma State. If they don't go to Kansas State, they're going to go to they're going to go to Missouri. Again, I understand it's the SEC, but it's within this region. Or they're going to go to Texas Tech, or they're going to go to TCU.
Yep.
Like if a top player in West Virginia is either considering West Virginia, they're not like considering West Virginia and Oklahoma and Iowa State and TCU. No, they're considering West Virginia, Virginia Tech, Penn State, Maryland. So it kind of isolates it from a recruiting standpoint too.
Yes, exactly. You explained it perfectly. And even though the Big 12 added Cincinnati and UCF, they also added BYU. So that stretches more west. Now, I realize we'll probably go to the two divisions, and we might have to travel to BYU maybe every 4 years, every 6 years, something like that. But I mean, that's a longer distance. And another big brand to compete with recruiting. That's another big thing.
It's become a super powered Conference USA. So Conference USA made its name out of a bunch of different conferences needing to survive, and part of that was the Big East branching off, and there was survival mode, and so they branched together, and suddenly there was this hodgepodge. For the first time, there had always been conferences that were very regionally centric. So, and for the first time, you had a conference that was all over the place. So they looked at it and said, we're going to brand ourselves Conference USA, because that's what we are. We're all over the place. Well, that's what the Big 12's looking like. They're looking like a super Conference USA.
Yeah, when you look at it on the map, you're like, what am I looking like? I did a video on my other channel, Go to Blue, about it, and I showed the map. I'm like, when you look at the map, it already looks crazy. But watch whenever I show this, and I circled the core, the Midwest, and then I drew out these tentacles to West Virginia, Cincinnati, and then I drew out a tentacle down to UCF, and then I drew out a little tentacle to BYU. And that really shows you the aspect of it. It's all over the place. There's not really any, I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason when you look at it. It's just a conference. That's it.
Okay. So before I look at this, I'm going to quiz myself on where West Virginia's been in conference play. So we know the Big 12, ever since the trashing of Clemson, that was the final game in the Big East, correct?
That is
they won
correct.
The Big East. They killed Clemson, the ACC champion, the Orange Bowl of 2011, the 2011 season. So the Big 12 would be 2012 to today. So the Big East, I'm going to guess. So I know that West Virginia was an independent still when they played Notre Dame for the national championship in the Fiesta Bowl. So that was in 88, the 88 season. So sometime after that, the Big East formed around 90-ish. So I'm going to go like 91. The core of the Big East was Miami, Virginia Tech, Syracuse, Pitt, West Virginia. And then later it became, at different times, Temple jumped in, and obviously UConn later, and so forth and so on. But that was the core. The core that could play football was West Virginia, Miami, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, Pitt.
Didn't Penn State briefly jump in before they got to the Big Ten? I thought they did. I might be wrong, but for some reason I'm thinking it was only a handful of years. But
I would not mortgage my house on this answer, but I would come close to it. I might bet my car that the answer is no.
Yeah,
I believe they went straight from the independent status. Now, before that, as you mentioned, the Southern Conference, I'm not going to, I would just be simply guessing when they were in the Southern Conference from the beginning of their football program or near the beginning of their football program to, I'm going to guess like the mid 60s, 70s, something like that. And then independent status somewhere around 1970 to 91. Okay, let's see. So they were an independent to start out, which makes sense. Everybody was an independent when they started out. Okay, so then they were in the West Virginia IAC, whatever that is, for a couple of years in the 20s, the 1920s. And then they were in the Southern Conference from 1950 to 67. Okay, I was off by 3 years. 1967. They were independent from 67 to 91. Okay, Big East, I nailed it. 91 to 11. Okay.
There you go. Okay.
So there's your conference affiliation for West Virginia all time. Conference championships, folks. So we got a number of guesses in here, and we got West Virginia. So understand that they were only in the Big East for 20 years.
Yep.
Only
right
20
at
years
20 years.
And only 10 years in the
man, that's crazy.
Big 12.
Wow.
And then the Southern Conference was only 17 years. So not a lot of years to win conference championships there. And they've won 15.
Yep.
Won 15 conference championships. So we would have
dominated that conference for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. No national championships.
Nope.
Would anyone want to guess, folks in the live chat, what West Virginia's all-time winning percentage is? Understand, if you're not into winning percentages, if you win one and lose one, if you're exactly even, that's 500.
I have a roundabout. I think I know the number. I'm
looking at the number, and you can guess the percentage, and you can guess how high that ranks in college football among the 130 FBS teams. They're number
Close.
15 all time in wins.
Close, Big Dog. Close. Big Dog is the closest.
Got Joey.
Sorry,
That's
Joey.
63.
Big Dog's still the closest.
Hey, Swampy McGee, none of that. None of that. None of that. You're killing us. You're
Oh,
killing us, Swampy
man.
McGee. None of
I was
this.
my number was 59.6%.
Oh, man.
Yep.
You know, if they lose this bowl game, you might be dead on. According to Winsipedia, 597. 597. So Golden Blue Dude, dead on there. We had some guesses. 73%. You're talking 73%.
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, that's like number one. Like Ohio State and Alabama are battling for number one. They're virtually like tied at like 73%. That's like number one status. 73%.
We're not Alabama. We're no, not even close.
Ohio State and Alabama are like so close. It like changes practically by the week.
And Michigan had it for a while.
Yes, they did. So they've lost the winning percentage. They've got the all-time wins. Anybody else close? Justin chiming in with a little troll action there at 28%. Joey 63, a little high. Lewis 67%. SEC Dog, 18%. Yeah, Big Dog Brett's here. Appreciate you being here at 60%. Nice guess.
That was a good guess. That's the one that I said got the closest. But Gamecock Chuck, man, I appreciate the guess. 73%, man. I like it. I like it. It's insane, but I like it. I wish.
Yeah,
that would
I understand
be amazing.
that 73% doesn't sound amazing when you're thinking about like one season, you go 7-3, that's 70%. But think all time, that's crazy good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That's insane.
To keep up that pace.
I would say, if I had to put a number, I would say 55% and above. You're doing really, really good. You're having a pretty good historical program. Now you don't want to do that every year. That's like what 7-5, 7-5. No, you don't want to do that every year. You're going to have bad years, so you want it to even out. But I would say 55% and above. You're a good football program. That's what I would say.
Minnesota's at 572.
That's not bad.
Not bad. It's 44th. West Virginia is 27th.
That's top. They were. I knew at one point they were 25, so that was going to be my guess. 25. So, I think that these past couple of years of struggling bumped us down a few spots, but we'll be all right. We'll bounce back.
I will ask this next question simply like this: has West Virginia ever won a Heisman Trophy? Leave your answer in there. Anybody on the Heisman Trophy?
You were asking me.
I know. I didn't set that up too well.
Oh man!
All right,
wishful
Justin. We're just kidding. Look like you were trolling at 28%, Justin. Now come on.
That's trolling. Come
on.
Yes.
Justin says he wasn't.
Everybody knows that.
Dependent Fanatic says Michigan's about to get the percentage back. Well, that's going to take some work. It's going to take a little bit of work, but
take a few years.
Good. They're right there, and then. Of course, you got a Pitt fan.
I'm surprised he didn't say negative something. So I think that's a good comment from him.
All right. So here we go with never a Heisman Trophy at West Virginia. Nope. I gotta think Pat White close, Major Harris close.
Closest.
Major Harris.
Yep. Sam Huff.
Yeah, that's
he was
going
close.
Back. New York Giants legend.
Yeah, he was. People. I know that's not a household name, but
it is in my household.
Yeah, well, but I'm telling you that dude was insane. He's one of the few that has got his numbers retired at West Virginia.
He's an all-time great.
Yep.
I gotta think that there were some guys that weren't like super, super close, but in the top 10, like Tavon Austin,
Noel Devine, I would say. Steve Slayton. Steve Slayton for sure. Hostetler. I would say Hostetler. Yeah, for sure. Maybe I would say Will Greer to some degree. Maybe not top 10, but
Yeah.
Close. I would say top 20 for Will Greer.
What was his crazy good year? Was that 17?
18.
18.
18. Yeah. 2018, the year before Neil Brown came. So, man, that dude has a cannon for an arm. I remember watching that Texas game, and he threaded that thing right before the outline on the end zone. And then, of course, we went for two, and then he ran it. So he threw one, and then he ran the 2-point in. That was clutch right there. That was insane.
You're going to like this. Will Greer in 2018 finished 4th.
I knew he was up there. I knew he was top 5 at least. He had a great season. Besides that, let's see, in my lifetime, I would say Mark Bulger.
Yeah.
He was pretty good. He actually had a pretty decent
NFL career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amos Zaraway, I liked
Amos
him.
Zaraway.
Let's see. There's a bunch of others. I just can't place them. But yeah, I'm listing my childhood, to be honest with you. That's my childhood right there. Those are my guys, man. I'm going to get them on my channel, so we'll get that done. Oh, Pat White, he now has a coaching position now. So there you go, Pat. Short NFL career, but it's all right. So real quick, I wanted to go through the recruiting class. Is that all right with you?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So 247, which does composite, they kind of add everything together and then give you, here's the average. So we're at 32, but if you factor in the transfers, we're a top 30 class. I would say 27, maybe 26. The last minute signees that we were not expecting that helped with the losses of Justin Williams and Kevin Thomas, I'd say Lee, and I can't say his last name, but I'll spell it. That's Kpogba. I think it's Pogba. Lee Pogba, the linebacker. He's a 4-star. That was unexpected. I didn't even know he was on our radar. And we got the JUCO transfer, Hershey McLaurin. Some sites have him as a 3-star. Some sites have him as a 4-star. So it really doesn't matter. That's a pretty good pickup. So I like it. And then the one that wasn't a surprise that I was like, wow, that's really good for West Virginia. Lynn J. Dixon, the running back from Clemson, transferring to West Virginia. That one surprised me. Now, 247 has him as a 3-star as a transfer, but out of high school, he was a high-end 4-star. And I think the only reason that they downgraded him to a 3-star is because he didn't have a good season this past season. But the thing is, they didn't play him much because he was having issues in the locker room. So if he can get his attitude fixed, he has big play capabilities. That's why I'm excited, not worried. I'm excited about the running game coming in 2022. Now, the names that headline the 2022 recruiting class, of course, quarterback, Nico Marchiol, 4-star, high-rated quarterback, one of the highest-rated recruits that we've had. We've had some 5-stars, but this guy he's dynamic. People are talking about him as in could be a program changer. Now, I would push back on that by saying this: he's a true freshman, guys. So don't expect him to play every game. In fact, I think that he will play. He might start the 4 games and not burn the red shirt. And don't count Jarrett Deggy out. Yes, he had a down year this year, but our offensive line was a train wreck, and we had no run support. I actually expect Jarrett Deggy to have a bounce back year, and Nico Marchiol will not have all that much pressure as far as, we gotta turn this team around this year. So I think he'll play more of looking up to his mentor Jarrett Deggy, but then he'll take the reins in West Virginia. Well, sky's the limit with this guy, and he's been helping West Virginia recruit. Another guy that I'm truly excited for, cornerback Jacoby Spells, 4-star. We stole this guy from Miami. That one blew my mind because I thought in the beginning of his recruitment, I thought he was going to Miami. Then I started to see those percentages switch. So I made a video and I predicted him to pick West Virginia, and Miami fans were saying, no, he's picking Miami. I'm like, guys, telling you, it was a big steal. That's why they weren't believing me, because that's a big deal for West Virginia. Nice steal. Quarterback Mumu bin Wahad. Now, he's a 3-star, but in my opinion, this guy's a 4-star. I think the reason why he's rated a 3-star is because maybe athletically he's not a 4-star, but this guy is super football smart. If you watch tape of him, he knows where to be, when to be, how to read the quarterback, how to read routes. This dude can read routes before they even run. They say he's obsessed with patterns. He looks at patterns and he can almost predict what route a particular receiver will run based on who they're playing for, what formation it is, and what part of the game it is. So the dude studies the game. I think he's a 4-star. He's rated as a 3-star, so we got to go with that. Linebacker Raleigh Collins, the 3rd, 3-star, but he's going to give us really good depth. There's not going to be a big drop-off as far as losing guys like we did last year. That's the thing that I'm really excited for. And we still had a pretty good defense. West Virginia had a pretty good defense. Not elite like it was last year, but pretty good. So I think our defense will be better. Maybe we can get back to that elite status. I know Hakeem Mesidor, he'll be back, and a lot of other key pieces, because we had transfers from the Dana Holgerson era. We only had them for 2 years, and then they were gone. We had we had the guy from Arizona. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he was a big-time factor in the 2021 season. We lost him and didn't take that big a step back. That's not going to happen this year. We're not losing key players like Tyke Smith transferring to Georgia, Jashawn Miller transferring to Auburn. That's not happening this year. So I expect our defense to be even better. The big thing we need to worry about is not the quarterback. That's not West Virginia's problem. And I know Jarrett Daggy has missed some reads, blah, blah, blah. Hey, quarterbacks do that. It happens. It's a running game. Now, we lose Letty Brown. That's okay, because Tony Mathis has looked great in these past 3 games. And we get Lynn J. Dixon. He's the guy that I'm truly excited about. So I think our running game is the thing that's going to really improve. We got a lot of depth on the offensive line now, because we got Maurice Hamilton, Charlie Katarinzik, Landon Livingston, Sullivan Weidman, all of those high-end 3-star offensive linemen. So our offensive line is going to be salty next year. It's going to be much better. And our run support, which is what really hurt us this year. I mean, that's what hurt us. Like I said before, Letty Brown only went over 100 yards 4 times. We won every single game when he went over 100 yards. So here's how I label Jarrett Daggy. He is not good enough to put the team on his back and win the game. But he is good enough to not lose the game if he has the necessary backup, like the running game, offensive line, wide receivers not dropping the ball. If everybody else does what they're supposed to do, he won't lose the game for you. But he's not good enough to put the game on his shoulders and win it for you. That's how I would characterize Jarrett Daggy.
Good stuff from Gold and Blue Dude on West Virginia's class, which ranked, as Cousie's Corner let us know, number 22 in Rivals, number 32 in the 247 Sports Composite. But hey, it's a new ranking system these days. If you really want to be accurate, as Gold and Blue Dude was letting us know about, you really need to take the transfer portal into consideration, look at the additions and the losses. Is there an official ranking out there where somebody is actually doing that?
Rivals. That's what Rivals does.
Rivals is doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They counted all the transfers. That's why in 247, now they might have updated, but the last time I saw at 247, they only had West Virginia with 2 stars. We got 3 stars, 2 4-stars, but really we have 3 4-stars because of a transfer. So yeah, it does need to be accounted for, and it matters because no, you didn't recruit him like out of high school, but you recruited him through the transfer portal, and that still counts, and he's still going to contribute. It's not like you got a coach, so you can't count that towards recruiting. You know, He's a player. He's going to play. You have to count it.
Or you could have two separate rankings. But what really matters?
Yeah.
What matters is how much better is the team or how much worse is the team. That's the real number. So you should include transfers.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate everybody being here at the Voice of College Football. We're so excited about our new West Virginia channel. Head on over there. I left the link in the live chat. Somebody commented that it's not posted on my channel in regards to all my team channels. Yeah, I have not done that yet. I need to do that. So I will get to that. But it should be easy to find for a few different reasons. Just put Voice of College
You're watching
Football,
the
West
infancy
Virginia.
right here. That's why. You guys, you're watching history. You're watching the infancy. But I promise you, me and Mark and I, we will do everything we can to get this thing going. And I have high expectations because I know how rabid this fan base is, and they're hungry for a voice. Now, I give them a voice through Gold and Blue Dude, but I also talk about all of college football. This is going to be West Virginia specific, so I'm really excited about it.
Absolutely. And we appreciate our guy, Joey. Thank you so much for being here, for being a supporter of Gold and Blue Dude for a long, long, long time, and jumping on and helping me as well, supporting me. And
I want to say this real quick about him. I would say, as far as related to my channel, and of course now this channel, which is I'm going to say it's my channel as well. Joey was the best decision as far as bringing him on board. Helping out with the channel. Best decision I ever made. This guy has, he talks to everybody. He's very enthusiastic about West Virginia. He's all about Gold and Blue Dude. He's all about the channel, and he's going to help this. I have no doubts in my mind. He's going to help this channel grow. Here's an example real quick. So it took me a year and a half to get to 1,000. I got to 1,000 back in May, early May, late April, something like that. I brought him on right around that time. 1,000, year and a half. Now we're almost at 5,000. And that's like 6 months, 5 months, something like that. And it's because this guy busts his rear end to get my name out there. And, even he's my connection to you. He's the one that, reached out to you and said, hey, can Gold and Blue Dude have you on his show? Can you have him on your show? And then now this channel is getting started. So he deserves a lot of credit. He does a lot of work behind the scenes.
Absolutely, he does. He is one of those people that brings other people together.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And he's not. This is not a fleeting thing, or I'll get to it. No, me and Joey talk every day, and he's all about this every single day. You already know I put out videos every day, but this guy, he's not the face of it, but he's the machine of it, and he does that every day as well. So a lot of credit goes to Joey. He's helped out tremendously. Best decision I made for my channel, and no doubt for this channel as well.
Everything and more of what you just said. Absolutely. Absolutely, on all accounts. All right. Is there anything else we want to hit on, or if we wrapped it up for the night?
One more thing.
Sure.
Now, I'm not asking for like an in-depth or anything like that, but from what you've seen this year and from what I've tried to explain through the recruiting class, any roundabout prediction for next year as far as what kind of record we could see?
Who's the big non-conference game next year?
We have a road trip to Pitt and a road trip to Virginia Tech.
That's right. We talked about this, and when I looked up West Virginia's schedule for 2022, I was mighty impressed. Taking on the two Power Fives. Not a lot of teams do that.
Both rivals.
Two quality Power Fives, Virginia Tech, Pitt on the road, minus Kenny Pickett, Jordan Addison, and others.
I think we have a better chance of beating Pitt, to be honest with you, because they lose a lot from this year.
Sure.
And, Virginia Tech wasn't that great, but dadgummit, they tried to come back and beat us, and it took a 4th and goal to stop Virginia Tech. So if I have to pick which one we'll lose and which one will win, I think we beat Pitt and lose to Virginia Tech if it has to be that way. Now, preferably, I want to win both. But as far as likelihood, if we win one and lose one, I would say beat Pitt, lose to Virginia Tech. And of course, I would prefer that as well. Beating Pitt as a West Virginia fan is always fun.
Joey's looking at 10-2 or maybe 9-3.
I'm thinking more 7-5, 8-4.
That's where I was 7-5, 5-4 in the conference.
But hold on. But I have to say this. So we went 6-6 this year, right? But 4 of those losses were 50-50 football games. So now I look at 10-3 and 9-3. I'm like, that's a big step. I don't know about that, but hold on. Let's think about this for a second. If we figure out how to win 50-50 football games, we're looking at a 10-2 season this year. And maybe we can figure that out. And I think West Virginia will actually be a better team athletically, recruiting-wise, growing up, that offensive line maturing a little bit more. 9-3 might not be out of the realm of possibility. 10-2 is a little bit of a stretch. But, even if we figure out how to win those 50-50 football games, because that's what killed us, especially losing to Texas Tech, that killed the momentum of the season. I firmly believe if we would have beat Texas Tech, we'd be looking at an 8-4 season this year. So if we can figure that out, that's actually not out of the realm of possibility.
The thing I'll say about that, though, is that, yes, Oklahoma was a last-second field goal loss on the road to a team that's top 12 or 15 in the nation. The Texas Tech game you mentioned, 23-20. That was that ridiculous field goal that went like 80 yards. Didn't go 80 yards, but it was 62 or 3 or something crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was yelling at the screen because I knew what Texas Tech were doing. They were milking the clock to kick the last-second field goal. And I was yelling at the screen, just let them score a touchdown now. A loss is a loss. It doesn't matter if you get beat by 7 or 3. At least you have time. If you let them score a touchdown, at least you have time. They milked the clock down to 2 seconds and kicked a field goal, and I knew it was going to happen. I was watching it happen. Sorry, go ahead. I had to throw that in there.
Sure, but I'm going to play devil's advocate because while you're looking at the losses. Maryland by a score, Oklahoma we just talked about, Texas Tech we just talked about, and
Kansas State. It wasn't by 1 score, but we were a 4th down conversion away from tying it.
Okay. I'm also looking at Texas was a 1-score win. Yep. Iowa State a 1-score win. Virginia Tech, of course, stopped inside the 5-yard line at the end of the game.
Right. So 3-4 in 50-50s.
Okay.
It's not good.
Yeah. The odds say you're going to go 3-4 or 4-3. Good teams should go. When I say good, I mean fringe top 25 good. Go 5-2 in those games.
Yep.
And you're 8-4. There's your 8-4.
Yep.
All right.
That's it. Well done. I like this one comment. Nick Seamer-Koff, he says, can West Virginia recruit good enough to contend for the conference championship? Yes, but it helps that Oklahoma is leaving. If Oklahoma stays, I would say, if we're lucky, especially when we get them in Morgantown. But since Oklahoma is leaving, absolutely West Virginia recruits well enough with Neil Brown, not Holgerson, he was crap, to contend for a Big 12 championship. Yes, I would say yes.
So what this does with Cincinnati, BYU, Houston, and UCF minus Texas and Oklahoma. So we know what's happened to Texas in the last 10 years, but they still have all the money and the facilities and everything else and the recruiting. They just haven't played it on the field except for one decent year when they lost the Sugar Bowl. Oklahoma's been a consistent top 5 team.
Right.
They're losing quality there, but the conference is becoming deeper with 4 quality additions. This could be a free-for-all. You could have so we're going to have 12 teams in the conference. You could have 9 or 10 like really solid, good programs.
It could be like how the Big 12 is in basketball right now. The Big 12 almost has no bad teams in basketball. That's how. Now, there might not be an elite team in the bunch, but you could have, like you said, 7, 8, 9 really, really good, top 25 teams in the Big 12. I agree with that 100%. BYU's brand is amazing. Cincinnati is hot. I know, their brand isn't all that big. And, man, they really need to expand that stadium. That's a small stadium for Cincinnati. I was surprised. 40,000, that's not big enough. But I don't know if they have the room. So they need to work on facilities. That's what Cincinnati needs to work on, and their brand. UCF, decent brand. Houston just invested a ton of money into football facilities and a stadium. Not necessarily a strong brand. So it seems like each team is bringing something really, really good, but from a different, none of them have it all together. BYU has the brand. Houston, poured in the money. Cincinnati is red hot right now. And then UCF is somewhere in between. Maybe Cincinnati is the closest to having everything all together because they are in the playoffs. But I don't think their brand is as strong as it needs to be. And I think the Big 12 will help with that as well.
My suggestion for the ACC at the time before the Big 12 went and got UCF was they were my school. They were my target as there's the group of 5 that they've already shown that they're dedicated to football. They want to win. They're dedicated to football. 2017, 2018 showed us that they can play with the big boys when they pull it all together. Number 2, they play in the best, arguably, along with Texas, the best high school football playing state in the country. So they got all that recruiting right there. Number 3, they play with NIL, Disney, Orlando.
Yeah. UCF has a lot of advantages.
And a huge alumni base.
Yeah, I think they have the biggest. They have the biggest on-campus student body in the nation, don't they?
Yes.
People don't realize that it's a big university. It really is. They need to. UCF. This is going to sound a little nuts, but I think UCF is a few great decisions away from being a brand like Texas. I see that but they have to commit to football. They have to commit to it and be willing to put the money into it. The resources are there. They're in the right state. They have a huge student body. It's time to put your money where your mouth is, as the old saying goes.
Folks, please head on over to our new West Virginia channel. So if you're watching this on the main channel, The Voice of College Football, we've got a new channel that is spearheaded by Golden Blue Dude. We're going to have some other contributors on there as well. And head on over there. Please subscribe. If you love West Virginia football, it goes without saying. But even if you're not a Mountaineer fan, if you just love college football and want to support Golden Blue Dude and myself, head on over there and give us a sub. And what was that? I missed it.
I said, if you're a West Virginia fan, you have to subscribe to this channel. It's your duty. It is your duty. And from here on out, if you're born in the great state of West Virginia, this is going to be this. I'm going to try to get this legislated. So, yeah, it's your duty. Let's do this.
Get this passed through the legislature. There we go. There we go. Golden Blue Dude, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate this. We're looking forward to this. I'm excited. Can't wait to get this, and we are officially launched.
We are rolling officially, and I'm already excited. I think this was a great show, and I think it'll get even better.
Folks, it did hit me that next Friday night is Christmas Eve, so we will figure out what we're going to do. That's my birthday,
by the way.
Pardon me?
That's my birthday, by the way.
Your birthday is Christmas Eve.
Yeah. So I definitely won't be doing a show on Christmas Eve.
There you go. So for various reasons, Golden Blue Dude and myself will not be doing a show on Christmas Eve. And but we're going to make Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, our destination. So lock it in for that. Due to holidays, due to other things that may pop up from time to time, We may need to switch up the schedule from time to time, but that's why you subscribe and hit that bell for the notifications to know when we go live. All right, everyone. We appreciate you. Joey, you know you're number one on our list. Thank you so much for everything that you do for us. Golden Blue Dude, this is going to be fun. Appreciate it. Great first show, man.
I had fun, man. I appreciate it.